Alright, what's up my calc pals? Welcome to another calculus tutorial. We're not going to be doing derivatives for dummies anymore because we have moved on to integration. And so today we're going to be talking about a particular type of integration first. And that integration is known as integration by parts, which is what you're going to be doing when you have something like this, kind of like, a whole messy situation with like multiple things in there, right? So basically, if we look at this, at the very core, it's just x sine of x. So we can like model that situation with this like basic rule. So if we look at this as u dv, that's a v. So basically, it's like, let's say that the x could be the u and the sine of x could be the dv. So basically, the rule is the integral of u dv equals u v minus the integral of v times du. That's a u. Okay, so basically, we need to just figure out what the u is, what the dv is, what the du is, and what the v is. So the first step is just to start writing that all out. So I mean, we already know the u and the dv, right? So let's just go ahead and write those out. And you always want to be strategic in figuring out which one you want to use as the u and which one you want to use as the dv, because that can really affect your process. And one way might be easy in some cases, and one way might be extremely difficult and tedious. So in this situation, we are just going to call the x u, and we'll call sine of x the dv. So that means we're going to have to figure out the v and the du. So du just means derivative of u, so derivative of x is going to be dx in this case. We'll just call it dx. And we already have dv, so we need to figure out v. So v is going to equal the integral of sine x. And so what is the integral of sine x? Well, it is none other than negative cosine of x. How do we know that? Well, the derivative of negative cosine is sine. So if you do that backwards, you just get sine of x. So that's how you know it makes sense. So now that we have all of these terms, we're going to need to arrange it in this handy little manner right there. So I'm just going to switch over to a different color marker for that, just to be clear. All right, so let's just write this out now. So we have uv, u equals x. So x times v, v is negative cosine x, minus the integral of v, negative cosine x, times du. Du is dx. So let's rewrite this and make it a little bit simpler. And we can just go ahead and take out that negative sign out of the integrand. So then it's just going to end up being plus sign there. And what does this mean? Integral of cosine x dx. Well, that is just going to end up as sine of x. So basically, we're going to end up with negative x cosine x plus sine of x. How do we know it's sine of x? Because the integral of cosine is sine, because the derivative of sine is cosine. You can always just go back and take the derivative of whatever you get for your integral, and you can just check that out to make sure that it's working all nice and dandy. So here we are, this is the answer. Oh, fooled you guys there for a second. You guys thought it was the answer, but what did you almost forget? Pause the video and think about it. Okay, now that you've unpaused the video, I'll tell you what you almost forgot. That plus c. C? You forgot the plus c. What a tragic mistake. That is a life or death situation and you chose death. Never forget the plus c. Cut. Alright guys, this is stage 2 of our integration by parts lesson. We are going to be doing another example. So here we have another example. It's a little bit more complicated this time. We have the integral of x to the power of 4 ln x dx. So if you're not familiar with this ln, it's not just a random variable, you know. It's actually natural log. It means natural log. It's a specific type of logarithm with a particular base. Anyway, that is relevant to know because we will be either taking the derivative or the integral of it. Anyway, the first step. Guys, pause the video, think about what the first step is.
First, you find...
Alright, now that you're back, oh, we have an audience participation. What was it?
First off, you want to find your u.
Alright, thank you, Shravan. So, as you may have heard from our lovely audience member, Shravan, we are first going to find the u. But in this case, it's very, very, and I cannot stress this enough, very important that we choose the right variable or term or whatever to be our u, because otherwise you're going to get stuck. So, I am going to be choosing ln x as the u. If you don't understand why, go ahead and try picking x to the power of 4 as the u and go through it, and then you'll see why. So our u is ln x, and if you'll remember, we are just referencing this basic setup for our integration by parts technique. And so right now we're working on the u dv. So we've already picked the u. Now we've got to pick the dv. So if this is the u, then the dv is going to have to be x to the power of 4. Alrighty? Are you guys with me? Okay, cool. So now let's fill out the rest of this and figure out how we're going to be approaching this problem. So if u is ln x, then we're gonna need the derivative of u. The derivative of natural log is 1 over x. I just gave you guys some time to figure that out by yourself because it's important that we're all on the same page here. And let's not drop that dx. Don't drop that dx. We gotta keep that with us. Or no, we do drop that dx. That's what we're doing. Anyway, we're gonna need to figure out what that v was. So if we know that the derivative of v is x to the power of 4, we're gonna have to take the integral of that to get the integral of that, to get v. So anyway, what is the integral of x to the power of 4? Pause the video and try it yourself. Okay, now that you've unpaused the video, I'll show you the solution to that. So, the integral of x to the power of 4 is actually going to be 1/5 x to the power of 5. I'm glad you guys were able to get that with me. Okay, now that we have all of our terms, we're going to set up the second part of on the other side of the equal sign. So, u times v is going to be 1/5 x to the power of 5 ln x. You guys with me? I just took the u and the v and put them next to each other. Now we're going to be doing the v du. So let's write out that symbol. And for the v, we already figured this out. It's just 1/5 x to the power of 5. And then for the du, we have 1 over x. So now we're going to write this out again to do some simplification. So here we have 1/5 x to the power of 5, that's staying the same, ln x. Then we can take out this 1/5 from out of it to make it a little bit more simple. Yup. And actually, and let's not ever forget this dx, you know. Don't ever do that. I was actually just doing that to test you guys to see if you'd call me out on that. Thank you if you did. Anyway, where was I? So, actually, you know what? Let's not take this out. Scratch that. Here's what we're going to be doing. You could have done that, but you could also do this. You could recognize that wait, pause. Okay guys, so before we had some technical difficulties and the stream broke up, I was explaining how we got from here to here. So you'll notice the difference here is that the 1/5 is on the outside of the integrand. And actually, instead of having x to the power of 5 times 1 over x, we just have x to the power of 4. Well, this happened because really when you're doing x to the power of 5, you're doing x times x times x times x times x. And that was all times 1 over x, which really means you're dividing that by x. So when you're doing that, that means you can cross out 1. So then it's just x to the power of 4. So basically that's how we got here. Anyway, the next step is going to be performing this integration. How are we going to do that, you might be wondering? Well, pause the video, try it by yourself, and okay, now that you've unpaused the video, I will show you how we can perform this. Basically, what's going to happen is we're going to be adding plus 1 here and then dividing this by 5 because, you know, that's basic integration. We already know how this works. So that's like, so basically we are going to end up with because we're being divided by another 5. And what can we never forget? Audience, do you want to chime in here?
C. That's C.
Plus C. Can't forget the plus C.
Let's go, man.
And that is our answer. Thank you guys for watching.